Mary, thank you for joining us. Mary is a specialist in vacation rentals, and we would like to speak to Mary about her experience and what she can recommend to our consumers.
I'm in my 17th year as a vacation rental owner and operator. And that being, I had come from a commercial real estate background, so I was not adverse to dealing with guests, which are like similar to tenants in that. I live in Galveston, Texas, which has a population of approximately 51,000 permanent residents, but we entertain between 7.5 and 8 million visitors annually. We're approximately 50 miles from the city of Houston and the Houston metropolitan area of a population of over 6 million. So obviously we draw a lot of visitors from there, but also neighboring states, the rest of the U.S. and international travel. I will say 17 years ago when I began, I was only one of two that were in what we call East Island, which encompasses about half the island. The other one that was at that time operating was not a small one. It was 18 to 20 people. So because we had a second house, someone inherited it, didn't want to get rid of it, we chose to turn it into a vacation rental. And as I say, 17 years later, it's still very successful.
For a consumer that would like to rent a vacation home, what are your recommendations today? Where to go to, where to look for a proper vacation home?
That's a really good question, Mike, for the simple reason communication media has evolved tremendously over the years. So with the internet, there really are few limitations on someone looking for a vacation rental. Obviously, the first is to choose where you want to go. Second is to decide what you want. What works for you and your family or friends that you're going? Do you want location? Do you want a beach location that you walk out and you're on the beach? Do you want an in-town or mid-town location? And I'm referring to Galveston, but consider it generics also, where you still have access to a beach, may walk a few blocks, but you've got dine-in restaurants, you've got entertainment. That is the very first step, where you want to go, what you want to do. And at that point, then budget. What is your budget? So you've got three things that will dictate what, where, and when. Number of places to look at. With social media and with the internet, there's a third party online travel agents, commonly referred to as OTAs, but many local areas, cities and counties, either through the Chamber of Commerce or through rental by owner, numerous things. You just start to search the internet, no matter what search engine that you use. And many times, you'll always come up with something. You will come up with either the majors, or you may come up with something that is just locally oriented, and you can discern and go through there as to what appeals to you. At the same time, you may see some things in there that may have a property name in that you can search further. A great many of us have our own websites. So there's numerous avenues to look for properties, whether you want a room, or if you want a cottage, or if you need a large beach house, vacation rental, mountain house, numerous areas to look.
Understood. Having 17 years of experience owning rental properties, tell me the worst story of a rental that happened to you.
I can honestly say I have never had a situation, a bad guest, an issue. And I think part of it is I am close to the vacation rental, but I've also the guests all know that we reside within 15 blocks of it, and we're available if anything you need. I just honestly have never had a situation. Now, have there been things broken? Absolutely, but nothing major. A very good example is a wine glass was broken in the house, and the guests went out and bought 12. This also, though, I feel ties into my rules at the house that are posted at the home. And the very first item is treat this property respectful.
So I want to ask you a question a little bit broader, right? I want to hear your opinion as an owner, and also what do you think other people, what should be common expectation of a consumer, when to ask for a refund, when not to ask for refund? What are the situations that are not by the book?
There's nothing that's ever 100%. Anything mechanical can break and will break. Unfortunately, we would be at the mercy of someone else. You can't control every situation. I'll give you a good example. My washing machine broke a couple of weeks ago. I offered to take the laundry of theirs. I mean, they were only here for a few days and wanted to wash some jeans. And I said, I'll take it to my house. And she goes, oh, no problem. I was able to reach my dear little handyman down here and replace the washing machine in about 2 hours, and it worked fine. I think we're in a day and time that people, and again, I don't want to use generalities of everybody, but you see more. One will see and hear more complaints or read more complaints more than the good things. People have a tendency to publicize the wrong and not the good. And I think we're in a society right now of instant gratification. Things happen. And if it's a long term, and this is a supposition, there's an issue. Air conditioning is going to go out, and God knows you have to have it in the South. You either try to find them a different accommodation or you do refund that they leave. But I think if the guest chooses to stay with something, then I don't believe a refund is viable. Now, if you want to give them a gift card to a restaurant or take over a bottle of wine or cheese and crackers or something like that is one thing. But I think I don't believe owners should be their feet held to the fire over I saw a fly in the house, and I'm not being facetious over this because I have read things over this. Someone out in the country or out in the woods, and they don't want any bugs. I think this, obviously this is putting it in your, rules and regulations are just about how you handle the property. There's realistic ways of going about things to assist. I have found, and again, going back to 17 years of good guests, that I've not had an issue or have had any questions on it. Now, there's been refunds with COVID, and this is a really good opportunity to bring up about the third-party OTAs. I want to treat people. I want people treated the way I want to be treated. And when you've got a pandemic, or you've got, no matter what the situation, be it forest fires in California or hurricanes in Florida or Texas or a pandemic, these are issues that no one has absolutely any control over. And everyone had plans to do something or whatever, and something else came up. I refunded every one of my guests. Some of I had one through Airbnb, which Airbnb was going to do it anyway, whether I said so or not. and I think the RVO, I'm not with them. But I refunded every one of my guests because it was right. I am not personally privy to, but do know of hosts, of owners that would not refund, that they said, well, I have to pay the mortgage, or I have to do this and I have to do that. As a longtime businesswoman, a long time, many, many, many decades, going into any venture, you have capital. And there's not always an upward movement. As we know, there's ups and downs in absolutely everything. And I have always made sure from the beginning that I have a reserve. And I can honestly say that when the COVID hit and we had to close down, and again, not knowing whatsoever, I had 18 months literally of reserves to cover the house sitting empty, insurance, taxes, whatever it took. There's no mortgage, but I mean, I had more than enough. But I feel that, I understand if you've got to, pay a mortgage and you've got utilities, but by the same token, this is a small business, and it's a small business that doesn't always have guaranteed income whatsoever. You have to run it as a business, and you have to operate it with plans of, like what happened, occurring, that you can be sufficient until you can open up again.
Another question is, so let's say a consumer is renting a vacation rental property and they have a problem. How do you suggest, and they cannot reach a homeowner, a house owner. How do you suggest, my plumbing broke, I'm renting your house, you are not picking up the phone. What shall I do?
For you as a guest, before renting, I think it would be very beneficial and behoove you or any guest to ask if there is a secondary or a backup, be it individual or company, for contact. But this does not only apply to an individual owner. This is the same thing with a third party and the ones that do the handling of it, the Airbnb and the VRBO. If I am not here or unavailable or whatever the case may be, I always have a backup. And furthermore, it is required by our registration in Galveston that there be a contact person available 24/7 and respond within 1 hour. And this is not only just for violations or issues. And again, in my whenever the situation may occur, I always have a backup number available for my guests. And I don't have it posted because it can change and it's not viable all the time. I mean, I haven't been anywhere since March, so I'm just here. But all guests receive a text message from me. And the reason being is I want them to have, I have a business cell phone. I want them to have that cell phone number so they can call or they can text with any issues or any situations. When we have been gone over a period of time, my backup has that phone. So it is never not monitored. And I feel with a guest, I'm going to put the responsibility on both parties, but I'm also going to put the responsibility on the guest that they, going especially to a strange place, that they should ask questions, ask what the policies are, ask the what ifs. And if you are uncomfortable with the answers, look somewhere else.
Shall a consumer that's booking vacation rental property expect a piece of paper to be provided with them with emergency numbers? Do you provide such piece of paper, giving all the emergency numbers around town?
Oh, absolutely. Not only do I have a list of rules, I mean, house rules, but I have a book, I have a binder, because as things change, as now with the masks required, one thing very, very important, and I've noticed this in places that we have stayed at, is that have been lacking, is one thing is in a very obvious place, be it by the front door or whatever, have the address. If you have an emergency and you need to call 911 or wherever it may be in the world, you don't remember, you know how to get there and you came in, but have it right there for you. That's number one. But wherever we are, we're promoting our locale. So the more information you can give out, I believe the more they'll be appreciative also. Well, thank you for the opportunity, Mike. And I do believe with any consumer going in for vacation and rental and looking for a place, please do your research and please look. Uh, stay away from Craigslist. There's a lot of scammers out there. Research also with your, no matter what website that you're using. If you're using a third party OTA, please communicate with the host. They're on there that you don't have to book instantaneously. I recommend getting a response from the host. Pose a question. It was exactly what Mike said is, what if I need someone after hours? I think with anything, it's your dollars. So respect your dollars and ask questions. Don't have blind faith.
Mary, thank you very much.
Thank you.